the thing that's kind of been lost in all of this is there are a lot of regulations and oversight already. I mean, when I was standing out on the floor participating in the filibuster, I had next to me the stack of restrictions that are already in place for abortion clinics, and then now we're adding this new onerous list of ambulatory surgical center restrictions, and it truly is not necessary, especially in Kansas City, but I also believe it's not necessary in Columbia.
Would you be happy with a bill that didn't require the physical changes?
You know, I have I don't know why they put those physical parameters about carpeting and dimensions and so forth on the buildings. And if I knew what the reasoning was for all of that, my answer to your question might be no. I wouldn't be happy if it only dealt with the botched abortions and not with the physical things, because those physical dimensions must have been related to how can we best facilitate patient safety. Every year we have a number of pieces of pro-life legislation, and usually we can only manage to get one thing passed. You know, so it was just. This year it was the turn for this legislation.
I would just tell you that for the last 2 years I've been assigned by Senator Gibbons to be the pro-life Senate caucus chairman to try to get groups coming in to talking to each other, which they weren't, the pro-life groups, and to talk to us so we have a meaningful dialogue between us and the governor's office. And we've worked very hard to make that happen. And a number of groups, the Catholic Conference, the Alliance for Life, Blacks for Life, the Missouri Baptist Convention, Missouri Right to Life. We just tried to find all the pro-life groups that we could that shared a common vision and got them talking to each other, and we worked on what the language and what the priority. There are a lot of other ideas out there that we did not put in this bill.
I think it's a coalition effort. All of us have to work together in order to get a good piece of pro-life legislation passed, because we know that we're going to face Planned Parenthood lawsuit every single time. It's a bill that we've been involved with for several years, either as the individual pieces or being, the whole bill. And we were a part of in having input into the writing of the bill. Well, obviously, we're Missouri Right to Life, so obviously abortion is not something that we support. However, this piece of legislation is specifically focused on the best health care that women can get. It is not just about the building. It is about a physician being on site and being available for the woman whenever she finds herself in an emergency situation.
I mean, we're effectively making it so that there is one abortion clinic in the state of Missouri, and that's in St. Louis, and it's because it's already a certified ambulatory surgical center. And we are making it essentially so that there will be one place in the state of Missouri. And abortion is safe and abortion is legal. And it's the law of the state of Missouri and also the United States. We've already, through the laws that we've passed, done away with any abortion services in Springfield, Missouri. I also think, and so we've got a situation now where if we do away with Columbia as well, I mean, you're putting an undue burden on women who have to travel across the state. And unfortunately, unintended pregnancies happen more among those who cannot afford to travel. They cannot afford to take off work. They don't have the ability to get to St. Louis. And we're talking about not just, we're talking about someone who's in Versailles or, and we're not just talking about people who live in the metro areas.
People from outstate Missouri find the wherewithal and the means to make it to Kansas City or St. Louis to go to the Royals game or the Cardinal baseball or the Rams football or the Fox Theater for concerts or to Branson for shows, et cetera, et cetera. And there is nothing about being pregnant that is such an emergency that you couldn't plan to make those kinds of trips. So if people do that for all these other reasons, I don't see why it's an undue burden for this reason.
Do you think maybe that's only a certain segment of the population, though, that can make those trips? I mean, it seems like there's some people that can't afford to do that, can't take the time off to do that kind of stuff.
You know, you'd probably be surprised at what, and I assume you're talking about lower income
Sure.
people, and you'd be surprised what lower income people manage to do and spend their money on. So I think it's a matter of priorities and how, what they want to put first.
I think it's unfortunate because if truly Missouri Right to Life and the Right to Life lobby were interested in reducing the number of unintended pregnancies reducing the number of abortions in this state, then we would focus more on medically accurate sex education, and we would not focus on trying to restrict the number of abortions.
I would hope that it'll become a trend, because there's no reason why medical procedures that are very invasive, that cut and scrape the inside of a woman's uterus, should not be governed by the same medical protocols that govern that procedure when it's done on a woman who is not pregnant.
Well, I think if it is not upheld in court, we have a dual standard in that surgical procedures, medical procedures of one type we make standards for, and procedures of another type we don't. Many of the pro-life ideas across the years, when they've been appealed to higher courts, even to the U.S. Supreme Court, have been upheld, and so that's our hope.
In the end, also looking at it from a legal standpoint, I think that it has very serious problems as far as the legal merits of the case are concerned. I think that ultimately the temporary restraining order that's in place now is going to stay in effect, and I think that we will ultimately, Planned Parenthood is going to be successful in that, because the constitutional challenges that they've made are valid, and I believe that the state courts will uphold that.